Hi class. So this is going to be a demonstration of melody. A song found on page 67 in your textbook should look like this. I'm going to zoom in and do a little bit of score analysis real quick before we get on to the demonstration. So first let's zoom in on this first line of music here, okay? And let's talk about the key signature. Remembering the key signature is always to the left of our time signature. As we can see, it has a flat, one flat, and it's located on what line? E, F, G, A, B flat. So what does this tell us? That tells us that any B that we encounter in this piece of music will be flatted. Remembering, a flat lowers the note a half step. So this B right here, even though this B flat is located on this line, doesn't matter. It means that every B on the piano is flat. So this B right here is flat. So one thing I encourage my students to do is, especially when we're learning key signatures, is to circle these notes. Circle them. To tell yourself, oh yes, that's an altered note. Now that we've gone over where our hand position is, and of course, you should always be warming up with a 5-finger hand position, right? So let's go over how we're going to count this. We're in 3/4, right? So 3 beats in a measure. The quarter note gets the beat. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Great. So the melody is pretty easy, right? 2, 3. 2, 3, right? Now, this left hand gets a little bit pesky here. It says we start on our 3rd finger. So if we start on our 3rd finger here and we skip a note, that means it's going to be 1. Therefore, this would be 2 and 1, 3 and 1. Now, I'm not filling in the rest of this because these are the same notes, right? And if we go down, A to G would be 4 and 1. This note stays the same, right? So now that we've gone over the fingering, I think you guys are able to figure out the right hand fingering. If this is 1, that's obviously 2. Go up a note, that's obviously 3. Go down a note, that's 2. I think we've got a pretty good handle on fingering at this point in class. But in terms of putting these two hands together, making sure that these hands line up together, know that here's a crucial piece of information you need to keep in mind when practicing this piece of music. That this note and that note lines up together. See how they're right above one another? Make sure that these notes are played at the same time. This note is also played under that note, but played after this note. So this A to this C, the F and the A are played at the same time than the C. I'll demonstrate this in just a second here. Make sure that these notes are timed out and timed up to be in sync. We don't want to have this note sounded and then these two, or vice versa, these two and then that sounded, right? Because if we remember correctly, a quarter note, right, is equal to 2 eighth notes, right? Or we can beam that, however you want to look at that. A quarter note gets 1 beat, and each eighth note gets a half of a beat, right? So, therefore, half plus a half equals 1 beat, half and a half equals 1 beat, half and a half equals another beat, 1, 2, 3. So our measure equals out. Now, I'm not going to flip the camera down to the keyboard just yet. I'd like you to just use your ears and listen to how this is supposed to sound. I'm just going to play the first 2 measures and listen to how these 2 notes are supposed to sound together. We already heard the melody in the right hand. Now listen to the left hand. The left hand has to be played twice as fast. Right? So put together it sounds like this. So do you hear that there are 2 notes in the left hand for every note in the right hand? This time I'll bring out the left hand. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the camera down to the keyboard. Give me just a second. And I'm going to demonstrate this piece of music for you. There we go. So, that being said, let's play through Melody on page 67. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1. Right? So that concludes this video class. Go back and rewatch this video and line up those hands. And remember to join in on the Zoom meetings if you have a question or you'd like for me to demonstrate something to you, right? So until next time, class, take care.